Well, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Dawn here. So today I'm with you. I've had a few questions of people asking me about different papers, and if I can go through a few of the different papers on the properties, which ones I use, which ones are the best, and all the rest. Now, this video is my personal opinion, and it's only what I can afford of what I buy. Because papers out there can be very expensive, so I have quite a few on my desk. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move everything just off to the side, because I'm going to start off with, because something I get asked a lot is about my alcohol ink markers, and asking what I use. Well, I use this. This is a HP Colour Choice paper. I found that this is a 200 GSM. I found any lower than that, it's not as good. But I'll just show it there. So this is what I buy. So you get 250 sheets. It is 200 GSM. It is super smooth, absolutely gorgeous. I love it. It is my definitely my go-to choice for my corporate colouring. So if I just grab, I've been doing some colouring in at the weekend. So let me just grab my little pin board. So this is the sheet. Bear in mind that yeah, we've got ink, but there is no bleeding at all, and if you look here, I can blend beautifully with my markers without it leaking out of the sides. So this is what I personally use, and the reason I use this is the price point. So I have tried quite a few different papers, because the paper that you would normally that is recommended for Copic markers, and I know our lovely Julie, she uses this, it is Express It Blending Card, and you get 25 sheets for £21.04 over on Amazon. Well, I go through way too much to do this. To buy, I get this off eBay. Let me just see if I can get it up. I get this off eBay, and I always buy 2 reams of it, because I do go through quite a lot, because I do a lot of colouring. Let me just go on. I'm trying to do it off camera so that you can't see it. So I've just bought these, and just so that you can see the price point. This is it on eBay. And it's just HP. I just put colour paper smooth 200 GSM, and it comes up. I don't use the same thing, but I always buy 2 reams of it, and for 2 reams it's £19.98. so this will last me a couple of months. So this is what I personally use. Now, I know that there's a lot of people out there that might not like this one, and will definitely recommend the Express It. But my sort of advice to you guys is, if you're on a budget like I am, and you want more for your money, you know, buy things in small quantities, try them out, see what you think. But like I said, yeah, I mean, they do slightly bleed through. I always have a sheet behind, but yeah, I find that these are lovely. I mean, it's just a super smooth one. I don't find that it takes up a lot of ink out of my Copic markers. I have used this as well on I use this with my pro markers as well, and I used it with the Spectrum Noir tri pens, and they worked all brilliantly. There was no bleeding, nothing. Absolutely love it. The only thing I would recommend is that underneath you put just a scrap bit of a card, like I have done there, so this permanently stays on. But as you can see, I have some more images that I want to colour in, and then I have a stack of cards on here. This is just my colouring in board that I use on a weekend. So when I'm sat in front of the telly colouring in. So yeah, so that's what I would recommend for Copic markers or alcohol ink markers. It's definitely something like this. But I think if you want for a more professional look, I think that the Express, I've never tried it, so I can't tell you what it's like or anything, unfortunately, because like I said, I've never tried it. I know Julia does use it. I'm just trying to see if I can sort out my lighting a little bit for you guys. There we go. So yeah, I've never used this. I can't tell you what it's like, but I have tried a few different laser paper, like smooth copy of paper, but I found that if you go any lower than 160 it bleeds, so try and stick to around 200 GSM, and I find with the 200 GSM it doesn't bleed and it is lovely to work with. So yeah, so that's what I personally work with. Now, watercolor paper, there's a couple of different watercolor papers that I use and that I absolutely love. And the first one is as cheap as anything from The Works. So if you are in the UK, you'll be familiar with The Works. It is, you know, well, it's a bookshop actually, but it's got lots of crafts in it. Absolutely love it. And I use this a lot. I love it. And this is £3 from The Works. It's 300 GSM. It's cold pressed, and I haven't found there to be any issues at all with this one. The Works do a cheaper one that is £2. It's awful. It is absolutely dreadful. Do not get the £2 one. Honestly, I still have some somewhere, and it just you find that when you're putting the water on, the paper bits up. That's not what you want from a watercolor paper. You want your watercolor paper needs to be able to hold lots of water, and your watercolor paper really is for watercolor paint, your pigments, your dyes, anything that you're going to use a lot of water with, and it's supposed to hold. So I found that this one holds lovely. I also find this one as well that I really like. This is the Tonic Studio watercolor card. I love the fact that it comes like in postcard sizes as well, and when they're on offer I do get a couple of them because they are lovely to work with. So this is another one that I personally like. And then the other watercolor books, I've got this, so this is cold pressed, and it's just a little mini, and I use it for my journal. Actually, if I just got my journals down, so this one's a new one. So here we have it. So this is like my little journal. So this one I did in a live, and I love it because it has all my mop-up pages. I've got all of my, I mean that's alcohol ink pen, so that's when I was doing some swatching. I need to actually update that now, because I think I only need, and surprisingly it doesn't actually go through the page as much. I think I need like 57 markers or something, but I love this. These little books are perfect for journaling, and I do have the bigger watercolor books, and I just rip out the paper as and when I need them. So they're the three main ones that I use. So it is the Arteza paper. Like I said, I have one that's about this size, and I just rip the paper out as and when I need it. So those are the ones that I use, but you can buy really nice expensive paper. Cotton is supposed to be the best. Again, it's out of my budget. I buy things that's within my budget because I like to experiment, and if I'm paying an absolute fortune for something, I'm not going to use it because I'm going to think, well, what happens if I make a mess? Whereas buying the cheaper products that I like personally, I mean, like I said, this seems to hold this, the Crawford and Black one seems to hold the water, oh honestly, and the pigment and stuff. It's a beautiful paper to use. I just absolutely love it. So yeah, I want to be able to experiment but not waste loads of money, but you can get really nice ones. Like I think Strathmore do one and Bristol do one, there's a few others as well that do one. So watercolor papers, this is what I personally like to use, and I don't just use them for watercolor. I will use them for mixed media and other bits and pieces. So I find that they do take a lot of mediums, which is what you want in. Now mixed media paper, so if you've got, I only have this, I haven't actually tried it yet, but this is a mixed media paper pad. Now a mixed media paper, it's a hybrid between a drawing paper and a watercolor paper, so it's like 2 in 1. So it allows you to use all different mediums within it, so but as well as give you that the tooth that you need and the surface that you need in which to draw on. So a mixed media paper pad is like sort of the best of both worlds, I suppose. So you can use it for a bit of everything. I think it works quite nicely as well, this one. Actually, I think I've used it with my my what they're called, Faber-Castell polychrome pencils, and it worked beautifully, and it did layering because it's got a nice tooth in it. So when you have coloured pencils, you need a paper that has a really good tooth. So you don't want a smooth paper, because it's just not going to work. You want something that has texture to it, because when you're colouring in with coloured pencils, you want to do layers and layers and layers. So yeah, to get that sort of shading of colour and to get that sort of fullness of colour as well. So you want to be able to you know, build up your colour without any issues. If you do it on a smooth one, you've more or less built your first layer in the first go, and it just doesn't work. It's just, yeah, not good. So I have used this with my coloured pencils, so I had like, now as for coloured pencils, I still need to look for something and to buy something, and I will do eventually. So I keep using mainly my watercolor cardstock, which is terrible, and some cartridge papers as well that have tooth on. So I just feel my paper, so I'll have a feel to see how much tooth's on it, and then I'll use my coloured pencils on there. But you can get some really nice paper. So the Strathmore do a really nice coloured pencil paper, which eventually I will get. And I think Bristol is another one. They do a really nice coloured pencil. But when you're looking for something to work with your pencils, look for the tooth. You want to look to make sure that the paper has a tooth. It has a texture, where the pencil, it's not going to colour it in first time. You want to be able to layer that coloured pencil. You do not want a smooth paper. So yeah, so at the minute I'm sort of between watercolor cardstock, cartridge cardstock, and yeah, mixed media with my colour pencils. The other thing that I have for Copic markers or alcohol inks is the Winsor & Newton bleed proof marker paper. Now this is really thin, and again you need to have something underneath it, but it doesn't bleed and it's quite nice. So if you're wanting a really thin paper to go with, and you don't want the 200 GSM, then I highly suggest you buy something like this, like the Winsor & Newton marker paper, because you'll be able to do the same thing, except it's not going to bleed out the lines. So this is another one that I use. I mean, these were A3 pads. It worked out cheaper me buying A3 pad and then cutting it down. So I've cut it down to A5 and to A6. It just means I can just take out a sheet as and when I want it. But yeah, this is the other paper that I would recommend with a Copics. Now I did get a couple of watercolour papers with my Scrawler box that I have actually really liked, and I would actually buy again. So this one's actually just a Scrawler box one, but it's got a lovely tooth on it, and I found that one quite nice. But these two in particular I was really impressed with. They were absolutely fab. Now this one is actually a smooth watercolor paper, and oh my word, I absolutely love it. And it says that it's ideal for watercolor pencils as well. I don't actually think I've got a few of the Derwent watercolor pencils, but I tried them with, I've got 3 Faber-Castell watercolor pencils, and I tried it with that, and absolutely gorgeous. So when it comes to watercolor pencils, this one, definitely this one. So this is the Derwent watercolor paper. Its superior smooth surface is perfect for pencils, and I really enjoyed using it, and I found that my pencils were blending beautifully. So yeah, so I think when it comes to the watercolour side of pencils, you want to look for a smoother watercolour cardstock rather than one that's got tooth. But when you're just looking at normal colour pencils, you want something with a tooth and not smooth. So that I highly recommend. And then this is another one. This one I was really impressed with as well. So it has got a nice tooth on it, but it's linen effect. So it looks like it's more like a linen. Absolutely gorgeous. And this is Equella Etevel. I don't know, I cannot read, you guys know that. But I really like this one as well, and as you can see, I've used 2 sheets out of it, and I won't use it because it's really nice, and I don't want to mess it up, which is stupid because that's what it's there for. It's to be used. But really nice. So this is another watercolor paper that I do like. So that's them. Now, for cheaper papers, I haven't tried this yet, I do plan on trying it. This was actually out in the pound shop. So this is a Dahl & Rowney acrylic paper, so it's ideal for everything. So on here, I don't know if you can see, but it's got a tooth on it, so it's got a linen effect, which will work perfectly with coloured pencils. And it says it's acrylic, but it says that it's ideal for pencils, paint, I want to say that's a lipstick, but it's not, is it? Markers and sprays. Oh dear, it doesn't have, it just looks like a lipstick, but it's, I know it's a marker. So it says that it's good for all of those, so I'm really excited. This was at the pound shop and you got 5 sheets for £1. So I'm excited to sort of try that with my coloured pencils to see how that is, because I'm all for trying cheaper brands, and they'll never get worse because I'll use them on other bits and pieces. So the other few things that I sort of have in my stash that I don't necessarily use, but I thought might be quite a useful thing, and these all came from Scrawlrbox, so they're not something that yeah, I would have sort of thought of, but it's cartridge paper. So your cartridge paper, what is it for? Your cartridge paper is perfect for drawing and illustrations, and you'll find that it's a smooth texture. However, the good thing about a cartridge paper is, especially if it's a heavy duty one, so this one is quite thin. However, you can also use it as a watercolor paper, and all it means is it's been hot pressed. It hasn't been cold pressed like your standard watercolor paper. It's just hot pressed instead. I'm not sure what the difference is between hot pressed and cold pressed, but yeah, but that's all it is. But you can use it if it's a heavier weight cartridge paper. You can use it with your watercolors, but it's ideal for drawing and illustration, so your different pens, and you'll find that it always is a thinner. So for me personally, I'm thinking it's just a thinner watercolor paper, so it's 120 GSM, and you'll always find that it has a tooth on it because obviously it's for drawing and illustrations and stuff. But yes, it's also a paper that will hold. Your thinner one, I'm thinking, I haven't tried it out yet, but your thinner one I'm thinking won't hold as much water, but you'll be able to add like little bits, you know, just to enhance it. But yeah, so I thought that might be something handy to sort of pop it in there, just to let you know what cartridge paper was, because it was something that I've personally I haven't used. I always go to my watercolor paper, but I might have a play with this, and it's just something that, yeah, it's not something that I would reach for straight away. But yeah, you'll find that if you have got cartridge paper, I'm not sure on prices or anything, but yeah, it is perfect for your drawing, for your illustration, and it also, especially if it's a heavy weight one, you can also, so this is 140 GSM, this is 120, so this will take water nicely, and it does feel like a watercolor, it just feels like a thin watercolor cardstock. So yeah, and that's it. The rest of the stuff, I mean, this is literally all from yeah, from Scrawlrbox. These I haven't touched them. This, now I've seen a lot of people use the grey card for mixed media. This is perfect for your pastels. It makes your pastels look amazing. I mean, this, it says like to use with everything. However, I found that pastels on this sort of a paper looks amazing, and your oil pastels as well, especially with the darker background. It just, I don't know, I just think it looks really, really nice. This is an acrylic heavyweight paper, so this is actually the same as, actually it's definitely it's the same one, except this is 190 GSM and this is a 200 GSM, so it's just acrylic paper, and they both have the linen effect, except one is, yeah, and again, I have used this using my polychroma pencils, and it was really nice. So I hadn't realised that these two are actually the same. You know what, I'm going to put that in there because it is just exactly the same paper, except one's 220 GSM, one's 190. So if you're not sure what GSM means and you don't know what I'm talking about, that is your weight of your paper. So you'll find that, so the heavier the paper, so the higher the number, the thicker it is. This is a 70 GSM, which is, this is actually less than copier paper. So you find that copier paper is 80 GSM. That's your standard that you buy in the shops. I use 100 GSM copy of paper for me. Then this is a bit thicker, so as you can see, this one is 140 GSM, and then you can go all the way up. This is your 250 GSM, so it's like a proper cardstock. And then we can go to 300 GSM, which is super thick. So that's what your GSMs mean. So I hope this has been helpful. This is just my opinions. This is just how I see things, because I know that I've probably got a few things wrong, but the papers that I've shown you is the stuff that I like to use, and it is all down to price point. It is all down to whether or not it holds the mediums that I personally use. I'd rather spend money on lots of craft projects than just one. There will be times when you know, I will buy stuff that's just a little bit more expensive, but yeah, that's, like I said, it is just my opinion. So I hope it's helped you guys decide on, or even just to give you a little bit more knowledge as to what papers are for what. But yeah, definitely love my HP, love my my Works watercolor paper. It's absolutely, yeah, it's fab, and I love this one, and there's a few others that I do love as well. So yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching. Like I say, I hope it's been useful and it has helped. Yeah, I might come back and might do some swatches just so that you can or I might do something using all these different things. I don't know yet, I haven't decided, but yeah, do leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you'd like to see next on my channel, and I will catch you all later. Until next time, please do take care and happy crafting. Bye.